Welcome to the November 3rd outreach meeting for the Studio City Neighborhood Council. I am calling order at 7:03. Let's round it back to 7:03. And roll call, Brandon Marino here. Karen Sorrow, currently not here. Sherry Kessel.
Here.
All right. Terry Austin.
Here.
Julie Houlihan, currently not present. Ira Gold.
Here.
And Scott Mandel.
Present.
Fantastic. We have a quorum. We may continue. Item 2, approval of the October meeting minutes. I sent that out to you, I believe, last Sunday, this past Sunday. If there are no objections to those minutes, I will approve them without objection. Anybody? No? Approved without objection. Okay. Item 3, updates by committee chair. Talk about a couple of things here. The photo contest was pretty good. There are quite a few individuals representing Studio City. One individual chose not to use their name, which I respect completely. But just to let you know, based on the photos, most of the photos was this person. Very good photographer. Fantastic work. They're up on the website right now. Yes, the slider is moving pretty quickly. I looked at some other neighborhood councils and their sliders move pretty quickly as well. There's nothing on our end that can slow that slider down. It's either normal, static, or no slider. Normal is like 3.5 seconds per slide. I reached out to Stephanie, haven't heard anything yet. So there's that, but they are up on the website, and we did put them up on social media for everyone to see, and it got a lot of likes on both Twitter and Facebook. So congratulations to the ones who were selected. They were fantastic photos, and they represent Studio City quite well. The North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry, Barbara Javits. I don't know if Scott's already received it yet, but I copied him. She's applying for a neighborhood purpose grant. So I sent her to the budget page where she can download the application, and she is mailing it. I guess she needed signatures from everybody, the executive director, so on and so forth. And once we get that, we'll have a better idea what's going on, and we'll move forward on that. They're, like she said last month, their 40th anniversary is coming up in March. That's a long time for a food pantry, guys, especially out here. I mean, more power to them. So we're absolutely going to get involved in that. I know Julie last month was scribbling notes furiously on that. So I know she's going to want to get involved in that as well. Everything else, well, let me see. Policy. You know what? We'll talk about that on item 7. I was going to go over the website at what Web Corner is actually doing. They're taking a little bit of time, a little more than I'd like. However, it's getting there. The idea is basically turning our committee pages into something like what the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council has. Right now, you know what? I'll show you right now. We'll revisit it a little later on, but let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay. Let's go to here. This is the committee page. Right here, you have edit, member, add meetings, list meeting. Member is the new thing here. If you click on cultural affairs, it won't say anything. It'll show, see where it says main content? Main content is where the blog is supposed to go. Right now, we have the committee members right here. If you go to the Cultural Affairs Committee, this part right here is where the blog is going to go. Unfortunately, the members are here, and we don't want anybody erasing the members. So the idea is if you go here, look at the bottom. Right now, they just have Abby Velasco, but where it says committee members, you could put your photo there. That's exactly what Sonk has and quite a few other neighborhood councils. We can't do that right now. If you go to this is how the admin page, there is nothing here to add committee members. It has to be done through Web Corner so far. I'd like to have greater access to that, but right now we are kind of subservient to their timeline, and when they get it done, they get it done. But once we take those committee members and we move them down to the committee members area, then that whole main content section is available for blog. So if it's just available in like the Zoom information, like the homelessness committee with all the information that can be down under location and information, and the committee members are below that, leaving that whole main content section available to put up stories, whatever. So we'll touch on that on agenda item 7. But outside of that, there's really nothing else to discuss on updates. So we'll go to 4. Announcements by any representatives who might be here. The answer is no, there are no representatives. It's the outreach committee. It's the way it is. So we'll dispose of 4. We'll go to 5. Discussion and possible motion of restocking of materials for public events. I think we have enough for the upcoming farmers market and Luminaria, but we probably won't have enough going into next year, especially the election cycle. So it's basically it's basically that. And I should have ganged this all up, but I did not. This right here, if you guys can see it, the basic stuff we generally hand out, the homelessness quick reference sheets, what do we do, the map, the stuff we've been handing out in those little black boxes the entire time. We're running a little low. We need more. There's probably going to be a lot more items coming through, say, if we form an election ad hoc committee. Clearly, they're going to have their own set of handouts to print out, and we'll have Luminaria coming up. And when we get to the farmers market section, we'll talk more about that. So here is the possible motion right here. Let me find it. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to blank for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at outdoor events. This is not the motion yet. It's the possible language. If anybody has anything to add to this, you may. I'll leave this up on the screen, and let me get you guys over here. And actually, I'm going to have to stop sharing screen because I simply can't see whose hands are raised. So I'll read it again if you need me to. But what we'll do is we'll go to public comment first on this. Let me again read the possible motion. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to blank dollars for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at outdoor events. Public comments are now open for this. If anybody has any thoughts, any additions, anything that I might have omitted, okay, we will go to Peter Cole. Go right ahead, sir. You have a minute.
I was just wondering on the flyer, if you're going to make mention that if you come to a meeting, that there's a good chance that a board member will insult you. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think that would be apropos for the flyers.
Yeah, but it's appropriate for you, I say.
Can't comment on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you should. So you owe me an apology. So I'm still waiting for that.
Do you have any comments on the proposed motion?
Yeah, I think you should be truthful with the public and let them know that they may be attacked by a board member. Thank you.
Very well. Mr. Cole, thank you very much. Any other public comments on this motion? Let me lower your hand. Anybody? Going once, going twice. We will go to committee comments on this. Everyone has the ability to unmute, so I'll share my screen again. And there we go. Any committee comments on this? Did I leave anything out? Anything that, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. We're not going to be creating anything drastic like brand new banners. Our banners are just fine And I think the foam stand displays are fine too, maybe. One of them might have a little bit of damage on it, but I think it'll be fine for the time being. Terry, go right ahead.
Just a question. Do you have a proposed amount that's going to go into that blank?
No, that's why I thought we can talk about, because the last set of flyers were not run through us, it's run through Cultural Affairs for the Movies in the Park program. So we did not approve the budget for the last flyers. That was specifically for the kiosks for Movies in the Park. We made so many of them that we decided to use them over and over again for Farmers Market and the 2 farmers markets and the subsequent second Movies in the Park in summer. We made more flyers than we thought, so they've lasted a lot longer, but they're not going to last until next year. So I'm thinking it's up to. So if we get a good deal, I was on our printer's website today. It doesn't look like they do color copies. They might, but I'm sure they do. But it's just probably not advertised.
They do, for sure.
They do? Okay.
Yeah.
So you color copies are usually about what, 50 cents a pop, I think. And some of those, the only one that's a full page is the map. Everything else is a 2-up side by side. So I'm assuming maybe 300, I think would suffice. Any thoughts on that? So Ira, your hand was up, then we'll go to Scott.
Oh, I was, I didn't put it down. I was going to ask the same thing. If we had a number we could put in there. I mean, I think I'd like to know what the price per copy would be, and then we could.
I'm guessing about 50 cents as kind of the standard. These aren't going to be fancy. It's going to be on basic 8.5 by 11 copy paper. Nothing glossy. So it's generally usually about 50 cents, 49, 50 cents from what I see. That would make, we would probably have maybe 100 copies of the maps and then 100 of the 2-ups. So we'd pass that out, I think, more than the maps, because people sometimes don't know what the Studio City Neighborhood Council does. So I'm guessing around 300. Does that sound good? Scott, your hand was up. Go right ahead.
All I would say is maybe pad the amount. We've got a lot of financial requests coming in. We have some movie night money being requested. There's at least 2. There's a beautification, a neighborhood purpose grant coming, and 2 or 3 other NPGs coming down the pike, as well as the elections. So get your dibs on the money and get them in, preferably in November, and just whatever you think the amount is, just add a little more.
Let's take it to 400 just to be on the safe side. Again, it's up to 400.
Right.
We may not spend it, but 400 sounds like a pretty good thing here. Let's see. Terry, go right ahead.
I have printed color flyers this year, and I did them at Staples, and I have a business account, so I got a bit of a discount, but they were at least 70 cents.
70 cents now?
That was, I did 4 color, but they were just on regular paper. They weren't on glossy paper. And that's what I paid. Sometimes they have different deals and stuff. So I don't know what the price is going to be there. The other thing is that for the last item on this agenda, I was going to suggest printing, something for printing, but it's not this. So that can still be left till the last, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Ira had something else to add?
Yeah, just question. I'm going to send an email to Pink's and see what their price is. So you're saying 300 copies, but how many of those are dual-sided?
They're not double-sided, but you have the basically it's here, I'll show you. Let me turn that off for just a moment, and I will show you what we're talking about here. This is,
as I recall, they're quite.
Hold on, Barry. Hold on, Barry.
Hold
on, Barry. Barry. Hold on.
It's cheaper.
Barry, I understand, but I have not asked. I have not called your hand just yet. We have the Homelessness Action Guide and the SCNC monthly meetings. That's on one sheet of paper. So if this is 100, there'll be 100 apiece. Then you have.
So that is dual-sided.
Yeah. Then you have. Well, it's a 2-up basically. Basically, they print it, then they cut it in half. This one is we could do 100, and that'll equal 200 copies. And again, we did something like this before and we didn't quite get through everything. So
And then what's the size of the paper?
8.5 by 11.
Okay.
Yeah. So the final one, the full size one is this right here. This is the map because there is no way you can make that a half. No one will be able to read it. So that's
How big
the
is
map.
that?
Yeah. Yeah. And you helped with this.
Right.
So, yeah.
How big is that one?
That's 8.5. These are all 8.5 by 11. The standard
Okay.
size copy paper. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be glossy. It doesn't have to be vibrant color. It just has to be enough for people to understand it because, you know, that. So let's go back. And what I'm going to do here is Barry did speak. So I'm going to open the floor up for public comment once again. I'll start with Barry. Go right ahead, Barry.
Well, maybe 5 more people can talk about it being 50 cents a copy when it's not. 300 copies, it's quite a bit less. I don't recall, but I've seen his rate chart and it's nowhere near 50 cents a copy. So
I may as well go too far than too little. So, yeah. Since I've reopened for public comment, anybody else for public comment on this agenda item regarding the budget for restocking our supplies? No? Okay, we'll go back to the committee. Any other committee comments on this? Let me get right back to this. And let me lower your hand. Any other comments on this? Does this sound good? The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing, or maybe just, well, it's printing. And I don't think we're going to do stand displays, but I want to put that there just in case something happens. And we're like, okay, this looks dilapidated, doesn't look good. Those stand displays are the ones that have Velcro back and it's on the stands. They're foam backing. I wanted to put that there just in case we needed more. So, you know, anybody? This looks good. So here's the motion. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at outdoor events. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Terry seconds. All right. Let me stop my share here so I can see what's going on. I'm going to open this motion up to public comment. Again, the motion reads, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at outdoor events. It was seconded by Terry Austin. Any comments? No? Okay. Any committee comments? Looks good.
I have a comment. I pressed 9, but I guess you didn't see it.
No, I didn't see your hand go up. Go right ahead.
So, yeah, I would get rid of the word outdoor. We do
Yes.
outdoor and indoor events. You don't need to say outdoor. Just say events.
How about public events?
Sure.
Well, okay, so I will amend this to public events. So let's do this again, just to make sure we're all square on this. The new, the revised motion is the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at public events. Do I have a second on the amended motion?
I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, let me stop sharing here. And we will go to public comments on the amended motion. I'll read it one more time. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing and stand displays to advertise SCNC at public events. We will go to Patrice Berlin. Go right ahead. You'll have a minute.
Hi there.
Hi.
So I just wanted to add one thing. I think you said you might not do the stands, so perhaps you might want to put and or instead of, do you see what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
Okay.
Let
That's
me, it's gonna take forever, but that's what we're here for.
All
This
right.
is why we do it. to make sure by the time it gets to the board meeting, we don't spend 2 hours on it.
There you go.
But you're right. You're right on that. Thank you. So let me go back to this. And great suggestion. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount up to $400 for flyer printing and or stand displays to advertise SCNC at public events. Do I have a second? Come on, Terry.
Sure.
All right, Terry. Terry seconds the second seconds again. All righty. That was actually a very good suggestion. Thank you. We will go to, let me lower the hand here. We will go to public comments on the amended motion. Nobody. Okay. Barry, did you have something to add? Is he still here? Barry? I don't see your hand. Did you have something to add?
Yeah.
I didn't see your hand go up. I was,
why-
what was
Can you
that?
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All I was going to say is this is so why we need our meetings to be in person and not Zoom. This meeting is a perfect example.
Well, we'll see what happens when Newsom
As
does this
most of
does it in
our other
January. We'll see. We'll see. But in the meantime, we have to make do with what we have. So I agree. Okay, no more public comments. We'll go to committee comments. Anything? No? I saw Terry go,
Not yet. Nope. Not yet.
okay, you're going to wait to farmer's market. Okay, no committee comments. We'll go to a vote. I'm going to read the motion one more time. The board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves an amount of up to $400 for flyer printing and or stand displays to advertise SCNC at public events. Vote. Brandon Marino, yes. Karen Sorrow is absent. Sherry Kessel.
Yes.
Terry Austin.
Yes.
Julie Houlihan is absent. Ira Gold.
Yes.
Okay. Motion
Aye.
passes.
I get a vote.
Oh, yes, Scott Mandel.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. My mistake. My apologies to that. So let's get that over here so I can add that later on. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. My kind of removing some clutter here. Okay. Item number 6. Public comments on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction. If accessing the meeting by phone, please use *9 to raise hand and *6 to unmute. You'll have a minute apiece. Your minute will begin the moment I hear your voice. We're going to begin with Peter Cole. Please unmute yourself. Once I hear your voice, you'll have a minute. Go ahead, sir.
Hey there. A recent Cultural Affairs Committee meeting, I believe Barry was kind enough to suggest me as to do sound for the for Luminaria.
Mhm.
And somebody should contact me. Well, Karen did, and I explained to her, and I believe I explained to the board that it's kind of sad but funny that the outreach chair insulted the guy that they want to use for sound for Luminaria, and he's asking for an apology, long overdue apology for you, for your public comments during meetings, and also the comments you made in emails that I ensnared in a Public Records Request Act. Quite abhorrent behavior by you. So I'm happy to help with audio and video, which I've done for years. I've spent thousands of dollars specifically on equipment to use for neighborhood council purposes, but I won't have anything to do with it until you can man up and apologize for your mistake. Your outreach chair, you do the opposite what is necessary for actual public outreach. You are a disgrace. So Brandon, you have an opportunity. This is not personal. It actually kind of is. You made it personal. So you have an opportunity to apologize to me so your fellow board members can get something done. If the audio fails at Luminaria, which I don't wish, and I hope you find somebody to do it, it'll be your fault. Think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, stakeholder. Let's lower hand. Any other public comment on non-agenda items within the current committee's jurisdiction?
I keep pressing 9 and it
Okay,
doesn't
Barry.
say your hand
Barry
has been
Johnson,
raised.
go right ahead.
All I was going to say is the city council and all of the city council committees are all meeting in person, and the committees up until last week, none of them even had the option of Zoom. It was only in person. I think they've done a few with Zoom in the last week because of the disturbances only at the council. And the other thing is masks are optional at all these meetings. So just food for thought. Thank you.
Very well. Any other public comment on non-agenda items within the committee's jurisdiction? Very well. We will close public comments and we will go to agenda item 7. SCNC Digital Communications Policy. Oh, there's going to be a lot going on here. Now, let me make something very clear here with the digital communications policy. First, it's unclear as to whether or not Dunn can actually enforce the digital communications policy. Like most bureaucratic things, it's a mess and it's huge. And if anybody was following the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners, they actually voted it down 4-3. And then the following month, one of the commissioners, Debbie Webby, reconsidered. Well, that meeting, 2 of the 4 individuals who voted against the digital communications policy were conspicuously absent, leaving only, I think, Leonard Schaefer, I think his name is, from Tarzana as the lone dissent. And only then did he find out ITA's got its own digital communications policy that the city uses. He didn't know up to that point. And suffice to say, it was passed with the well, basically what they added was they were going to wait 6 months before they actually imposed it upon us. Well, that was a caveat. I guess that was the reconsideration, the caveat for the reconsideration. Well, this right here, I'm not asking for the Studio City Neighborhood Council to have its own all-encompassing digital communications policy. This is more of kind of a one sheet, maybe 10 points to say, okay, look, you're going to have your own blog on your website, on our website. You're going to be able to post content there. Follow these 10 points. We're all going to be good. Again, it's not going to be like digital communications policy, where, quite frankly, I don't know how many pages it is. It is 9 pages. Well, it's 8 pages long with the front page being signatures. Let me share one aspect of it. There, this is the policy as adopted right here. We have a section right here. It says neighborhood councils must set up an account administrator. All this, social media accounts, no new accounts without board approval, all basic stuff. A lot of this stuff is probably stuff we're never going to deal with except 8. Deliberation, discussions, things like that, that we really can't discuss matters with the public on our social media sites. Discussions for meetings only. You would refer them to the website where they can sign up for an agenda. I know Scott just did that. He had Web Corner change the beginning to have them sign up with an early notification system. There is a way for subscribers to get our agendas, but it's manual. You have to go in there and actually manually type in their email with commas. And then when you post an agenda, they'll get a copy of it, but it's nothing automatic. So this idea is probably something that we should kind of ponder for the next month or so. It's more than likely going to be a bylaws and operating procedures thing through Jeff Hartwick's committee. But the idea is have something in writing, everything on the same sheet of paper. Everyone's reading the same sheet of paper. Quite literally, everyone's on the same page. So when committees do start using their, and I will go back to this, because I promised I would. Where is it? There it is. Oh no, dogs. Okay. This would be basically, this is the Cultural Affairs Committee page. This top part where it says mission statement, meeting, Cultural Affairs Committee members is the main contents part. This is where the blog would be. Agenda requests, meeting times and locations are pretty much fixed. We can adjust this. This we can't adjust. And down here it says committee members, Abby Velasco, they're working on it. This is very similar to what a lot of neighborhood councils have. They put their committee members on a separate section. You go over here, and this would be the admin section. Agenda requests. See, here's the agenda request recipients right here, with the comma separated. If you sign up for agendas, we have to manually input this right down here at the bottom part of comment details. The main content part is the actual blog section, but we can change default meeting location, but we cannot touch the committee members. That little section they added right down here. So that's something they have to do. I would like to be able to do it ourselves. They have not gotten back to me just yet, but when committees go to their main comment, I know Ira's got access to the site now, and committee chairs will have access only to their page. We can have them have to access with only one thing, which would be their committee page. They would not have access to the calendar. They would not have access to the news page. They would only have access to this. When they're inputting stuff, unless it's going through an account administrator who then vets the material, they would have direct access to their page. So the idea about having something in writing about some kind of communications policy so they can look at it and say, okay, we should do this. It might not be a good idea to talk about this. We're advocates, we're not activists. We can't have an opinion that has not been rendered by the board yet. We don't speak for the board speaks for itself. So if the board has not rendered an opinion yet, you can't say the SCNC does this or likes this or doesn't like this. Can't do that, only the board can do that. So that's the general idea of having just a kind of a one sheet, 10-point basic communication policy that is not very restrictive, but kind of gets all the main points down for committee members. They'll have it in their hand. They'll say, okay, I can't do this. 6 says I can't do this. 7 says I can't do this. And after a while, it'll become natural. They'll know what they can do and what they shouldn't do. And again, this isn't really about Dunn or the city coming down on us. It's more stakeholders who might have an issue with something we post. Say we're saying something about, I don't know, whatever it might be. They may say, you're taking a position on this and it wasn't a position by the board. So they might have an issue and they might file a grievance. That kind of, the one sheet kind of mitigates that slightly. That's the idea, at least. So we'll go to public comments first on this matter. We'll have a minute. The moment I hear your voice, we'll go to Peter Cole. Peter, go right ahead. You'll have a minute the moment I hear your voice.
First of all, as far as outreach, what would be good for outreach then it would be that you don't limit public comment to 1 minute when I'm the only person in the public. Also, that this one sheet, this is where I can post comments. Is that what you're saying?
It would be for the committees.
Oh, the committees.
Mhm.
So it's
It'd
not
be like a
place-
blog. It'd be like a blog.
Okay, so can I add to that? Like, I'm not thrilled with board members trying to poison a vote in the background, committing Brown Act violations, or, like Randy did with me, where he was trying to get the whole board not to vote for me before a meeting, and that kind of stuff.
I can't comment on that, but I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Well, what about when you were writing about worried about me weaponizing your comments, your videos against you? You going to comment on that? No?
It's out of it's out of Outreach's jurisdiction.
No, you're outreach.
It's not within Outreach's jurisdiction.
I think it is.
No.
So when's that apology coming?
You have about 15 seconds to go.
And that's really good for outreach. And the muscle boy thing, that was good too. I have all those emails.
You have one. Thank you very much. I'll mute. And any other public comments on this? Barry
Yeah.
Johnson, go right ahead.
Are you saying that members of the public can post?
No,
Okay. So
no, this would be for like committee chairs. Like
So
for
the
instance,
committee
Adele,
chair could post a
sustainability,
comment.
you, government affairs and transportation. It would go through the
Okay.
committee chair. Only one
Okay.
person would have access to this page. And say you wanted to put something on government affairs, or transportation, like the rail, the train, the high-speed train you were talking about a little while ago. I still have that information, by the way. I wanted to wait till an opening where there wasn't a lot of meetings and it'd get lost. But something like that, that's going through like Burbank
Okay.
Airport, I think it is. You could do something like that, as long as it has something to do with government affairs and we're not taking a position on it. It's just pure information. It's like, here's some information to the public. There you go. Do with it as you may. Or if you want to put information up regarding your upcoming meeting. But you can't say we oppose or support this. That'd be during the meeting. You would just say, here's some information so you can be better informed. So when the government affairs meeting does happen, you'll have it. So something like that to better assist the committees in getting the word out to the people about information they need to know.
So
But
like
no-
we
no
do
opinions.
on our actual agendas that say like discussion and possible motion regarding, but that it doesn't say what the position would be.
No, we haven't, though you can't put a position there because the motion has not been voted on yet and hasn't gone to the
Right.
board yet. So we don't have an official position until the board renders an opinion outside of that. But you can say, if you're talking about, like for transportation, you're talking about the bus lane thing that you were talking about. Let's say the report comes out. You could put a link to the report on your government affairs committee page, as long as you're not rendering an opinion. It's just pure information for the public. So there's that.
Well, my agenda last night said exactly pretty much that. It said discussion and possible motion regarding the ramification of a bus lane on Ventura Boulevard. That's not taking a position.
And that's why with the one sheet, I'm calling it a one sheet, it might be called something else, where all committee chairs are like, okay, let's just be careful here and let's not take in a position that, predates the board's position, if there will be one. Any other public comments? None? Okay, then we'll go to committee. We'll start with Scott Mandel.
Hi there. I actually have a bunch of things to talk about. with
Or I know, he did last time too.
policy, but I'm just going to read one section from this at this particular moment.
Mhm.
All digital communications shall originate from the neighborhood council acting through its board and not any committee or any other group. That's 6.3.
Let me see.
My thoughts would be to not try to repurpose whatever it is they're saying, and to simply say, our digital communication policy is this.
No, hold on. Was that 6.3 you're reading?
6.3, and then.
Oh, the establishment or closure of a neighborhood council digital communications account. Is that what you're reading?
6.3, all digital communications shall originate from the neighborhood council acting through its board and not any committee or any group. Meaning, at present, I am the one who implements and enforces the digital communication policy of the SCNC. To protect all of us, I would simply propose to change our operating procedures to follow this. And then this would be given to all the committee chairs and anyone who has access to our webpage or our social media. And I will give guidance to any committee chair who wants to post and give them just the basics. Don't do anything, quote, stupid, and you're fine. This is self-enforcing. I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves and getting into the weeds here. This policy is so vague and in many areas completely incoherent and unworkable.
It is.
And
I'm just, this is the policy that was adopted
I
in
understand.
3/1/20. No, I'm just saying, this is 6.3 right here, the establishment or closure of a neighborhood council. Are you reading the red line version?
I'm reading the one that was included in the latest update from
Oh, okay.
our NEA.
Okay.
I don't know what that is that you have. They sent a link to this, and that is what I'm reading.
Okay. Got it.
It's that. So besides that, I would simply just quote their own policy, and then we self-enforce and we train our own people. I think it's a terrible idea to try to to reinterpret and paraphrase what it is they're trying to say, and just leave their own words as vague and incoherent as they are, and then we establish our own policy. There's so many other things in here that we have been potentially in violation of, including the Twitter page from our past regime, which is filled with personal tweets that have nothing to do with neighborhood council business.
Correct.
I trust our outreach chair, who is in charge of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and I don't need to vet and approve everything you post. And I'm going to trust our committee chairs and anyone else who I give the keys to access our policy. And if they're going to do something that is outrageous and we get a complaint, then we'll self-enforce it. But I think
Okay.
we're getting way too far into the details of Bonk, who sets the policy, and Dunn, who implements it, and then we're self-enforcing on our own, and the president is the one who implements it. There's so many layers here before we get into trouble. I think we should just utilize our page, and as Barry said, he just wants to post. I mean, he just has an agenda of what we're going to be discussing. And lastly, our bylaws and our operating procedures make no mention of any of this, other than the president is the spokesperson for the neighborhood council. So I think we'll turn this over. I think we should turn this over to Jeff
I think so too.
in bylaws and procedures.
I would
And
like to get
Yeah.
something in writing. I mean, we don't pass the motion here. We would construct an idea, give it to bylaws, and let them work out the details. And the vote would be at bylaws and operating procedures. Then it would go to the board. It would
Yeah,
have to go through Jeff.
I would recommend we just incorporate Bonk's version and leave it as it's written and not reinterpret it. And then I will instruct.
I tend to disagree with that. I think Bonk's version is a bureaucratic nightmare. Like you said, it's an absolute mess. It's all over the place. And I do have faith in our committee chairs, but just as a buffer, it would also be nice to have the bare basic 5-10 points just to remember, just to hand them. Again, it doesn't even have to be bylaws and operating procedures. It might just be a one sheet of paper saying, keep this with you whenever you're posting on the website, just to ensure we don't get in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, but
Again, this is basic stuff. It's common sense.
I got it, but we're not going to rewrite what Bonk wrote.
It would be the cliff notes of what Bonks does.
Well, I don't even think we need to do that. I think Bonk wrote it the way they wrote it, and that's what we live with. And I think it would be, I mean, there's so many points here. Whatever we exclude, we would then be violating what Bonk is telling us to do. So I think that's running into trouble. I think
Which in itself, they can't really tell us to do anything. They don't administer us, because if they do, we're employees, and where's my money?
well, it's Bonk, and then it's done. And if there's
Yeah.
a problem, it's the city attorney, and then if
Correct.
there's a problem, it's the court.
Correct.
So I think we're just getting way too deep in the weeds, and vagueness is at the disadvantage of the person who wrote it. So
That's
we
true.
just stick with what they wrote, and we can self-govern. And I trust you as outreach chair. I trust our committee chairs. And if there's a problem, we can't change our bylaws, by the way, it's too late. So
When's the open? Oh, the window opening up again? Like February or March?
the new board.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're not changing our bylaws at the
No,
moment.
no. Well,
So-
we wouldn't be able to change our bylaws anyways because this digital communications policy went into effect in October, and they're going to revisit it after a certain amount of time. So to change the bylaws would be ridiculous, considering they may change quite a few things in this digital communications policy, and then we have to go through the process of bylaws, taking it to Dunn, having them look at it, so on and so forth, et cetera, et cetera.
That's
But-
why it says, if it's not in your bylaws, it's the president who implements. So I think we're safe.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just my thought.
It's fine. Oh, no, it's quite all right. Quite all right. Anybody else on this? Any thoughts on this? This isn't something we were going to act on today. This is something I just want to have. We had a discussion like this on it before, and I'm just revisiting it just to double check to make sure that everyone has an input. Barry, I see your hand up. Was your hand up during public comments? Or did you?
No, it must have been a delayed reaction from when I pressed it a long time ago.
Very well. Well, I'll let you speak, then we'll have public comments once again. Go
I
ahead.
didn't have anything more.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, you didn't. Very well. So that being said, we will, if there's no other comments, we'll dispose of, why is everything open? There we go. Of 7, no action on 7, not yet, if any. Again, we've got time. There's not going to be many meetings in December. So, and hopefully by that time we'll have our website committee pages ready to go, and we can play around with it before we pin our ears back and go all in on January. So we'll dispose of 7. We'll move to item 8, November Farmers Market. Luminaria is coming up. And we're going to be spending a lot of money on Luminaria. I think it's $5,000 if I'm not mistaken, maybe more. So we're going to try to get another farmers market going November 27th. That was the date I had, and during cultural affairs, it was mentioned, yeah, November 27th would be great. So it works out perfectly. Hopefully we'll have the parking passes ready to go. We'll have maybe a Luminaria banner hanging there. They're 3 feet by 6 feet. And again, I've never been a part of this. I'm a COVID baby. Most of us came in during COVID. Barry, of course, has been here maybe forever. I'm not sure. But you've been here longer than most people. You know how it operates. So the idea here is we are going to be pressing Luminaria, and we're also going to discuss a little bit about the upcoming elections. It's never too soon to discuss the elections coming up. Our election is late, June 22nd, 2022. We're the last ones in, but getting the word out early is a good idea. And we can point them to, we could put some election material on our website. We can point them to it. Maybe I can put it on the outreach part of the website. We could point them to the outreach page, and they can download PDFs. They're like the election handbook, the timeline. It's all in the election handbook, everything, the timeline, the regions, everything like that, and take it from there. So any discussions on 8 regarding November 27th farmers market? Anybody? I know that Ira and Terry have spoken
Yeah.
to, and of course Barry's here. Yes, Barry, go ahead.
Just that I would say in past Luminarias, the past 9, probably half the people we've got to attend got those parking passes.
Let me show them really
on the
quick.
Sunday.
That's the parking
What's that?
pass. That's the parking pass he's talking
Yeah.
about. It's two-sided. Basically, the top part's gonna be the front, and the map is gonna be on the back. They don't look like that. You're not gonna fold them. They're gonna be double-sided, hopefully glossy.
But my
I'm sorry,
point
go right
is
ahead.
that Sunday at the farmers market a week ahead of time is really our biggest in-person outreach. And we, and we didn't just sit in a booth passing them out. People walked and said, have you heard about the Luminaria coming up a week from today? And if they're interested, you can hand them one. But we've gotten a lot that way. And the other way we have gotten is sending to the principals of all the elementary schools around, like Carpenter, Rio Vista, Oakwood, Dixie Canyon, Colfax, even Toluca Lake, to their principals, like our flyer or something, suggesting to the principal that they, in their own e-blast, get that information out, because the Campo is really, even now in elementary school, I don't know if it's 3rd or 4th grade, but I remember you study California history, you study the missions, you study how California came about at Campo de Cahuenga, the transfer from Mexico to the U.S. And it's right up the alley of what all these kids either are studying or just studied the year before or are about to study. And these principals realize that and have, gotten the info out. But a couple of years we've not done it, and we've not gotten as many people. So it's just, I think it's a really good outreach, but it takes you sending an email to the principal, asking them to put it in their e-blast. So
Would that that would be Scott's responsibility. That'd be speaking for the board, correct? Scott, would that be something you can do in an email? Or
I think
why did we stop doing that?
Cultural affairs people and chairs and or outreach have done it in the past. It
Oh,
hasn't
okay.
necessarily been, because they're really just passing along our flyer, asking, to please, share it in their e-blast, but mentioning the connection into what the California history and what the students are studying seems to really get the principals going on getting the message out.
Barry, do you have a past email that highlights all of this, so we can basically use it and make some corrections to it, maybe some changes that makes it more modern, more today, like 2022? Do you have some copy?
I can check. I don't know, but in past years, and Brandon, somebody may have passed one along to you or Scott. We have had like a postcard, like half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet, so it's been 8.5 by 5.5 postcard that had like all that info on, and we've just emailed them a PDF of that.
Okay.
So have you seen one of those?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Again, I wasn't part of this neighborhood council until 2021, and that's deep into the pandemic. So I have not been, and then we canceled 2021. So I have not been a part of Luminaria yet. This is all very new to me.
I think there's one sitting in the desk in the office conference room. So I'm going to go there tomorrow afternoon anyway. So let me check to see, and I can also check my email and see what I can find.
You could find some copy that we can use. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know why you guys stopped. Why we in the past stopped doing that. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else from the public who would like to talk about this? We're talking about farmers market. We're talking about agenda item 8, November farmers market, focusing on Luminaria and possibly the beginning of the election cycle. No? Okay, we'll go to committee. Any committee comments, suggestions on this? Let me lower your hand, Barry. Anybody? No? I see people doing this. All right. Terry, go ahead.
I have to unmute myself now that my dogs aren't barking.
Okay.
So does this mean this is a okay, so it's an outreach table and it has a purpose of 2 items or?
No, it would be normal, but we would be
Okay.
highlighting Luminaria.
Okay,
And possibly the 2023 election cycle. This is a ways away. I don't know what kind of material we have that's not dated 2021 in the office that maybe we can use. I think most of the election material has actually a 2021 date on it.
right.
But if there is something that just says, run for blah, 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 we could put it on the table. But right now, the focus is Luminaria because we have allocated so much money for it already.
Right.
I like it to be a hit.
I would think if there's some, as we were talking earlier about the printing, I think if there's some signage that,
But we're gonna have a banner.
Yeah,
Hopefully, if we can get pinks done in there, and we'll have the banners hopefully, and then we'll put a banner up there as well. Maybe along the it's a 3x6 banner, so I think it'd be able to be attached to maybe the front of the table.
I
And
think though that there's one of our biggest challenges, and one of the reasons that I wanted to be on this committee is the number of things that happen in Studio City that might have been going on for years and years, and some people know and some people don't, is outreach to the public to let them know what's going on in the community. So I think that maybe if there was some sort of a 36x24 laminated foam board, like something that bigger than a flyer size, that says Studio City tradition for X number of years, like something to let people go, oh, what is Luminari? Rather than a this has come to Luminari, and if people don't know what it is, they go, yeah, well, that's nice, they go on. Just some sort of a punchy thing that says, family event, come with your kid, whatever, something to make people question what is this? Maybe I want to go rather than just Luminari 2022.
Well, let me show you what the banner is going to look like. Something I designed. I do know graphic design.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So that's basically
your little card, so I didn't see. So
yeah, the first one was actually a parking pass, and this one's actually going to be the 3 foot by 6 foot banner.
Okay, well, this.
We had the return of the traditional blah blah blah, but this may be used in future years, so I removed that. So this is a free holiday event for the whole family, and it's kind of eye-catching. I would think it looks good.
I think it looks very nice. I like it very much. And
Thank you.
the one thing I would say, I'll just throw it up there, is that I think somewhere to mention that it's the annual or the traditional or something, rather than people think it's something new. I don't know.
Yeah.
I always think there's a nostalgia, and there's people like to, I didn't, sometimes if it's a new event, they think, well, how good will it be? That's my one thought. But I think that the graphic.
It's the 10th annual.
It is the 10th annual?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason we took it off the banner is because it might be used next year, and that'd be the 11th annual. So the less we can change on the banner, the better. And also, this is going to be for people who are driving by on, say, Lancashire Boulevard or Cahuenga, Ventura. And the less text you have there, the less cluttered it is, the easier for them to get the idea right away. So, but we could have something there, like a little display saying annual event. We can do that. I can talk to Abby about that and see if yeah, we can absolutely do it. We can just talk about it. We can have a little fact sheet about it, and maybe we can get from cultural affairs, and it'll be like a little spiel. We can just kind of go over it and say, well, this is this and this and this, because I don't know as much about it as I'd like to. I wish, Barry, do we have like a fact sheet on it? Like anything?
I'll look for that tomorrow.
There's got to be something.
The name
You
is
definitely
not
could do what Terry's
self-explanatory.
saying.
The luminary is like lights or something. It's
Yeah, but it's not self-explanatory. It's not like you say, like saying Studio City Pet Fair or Studio City Quilting Community.
You know what they're gonna think it is? They're gonna think it's Cirque du Soleil, right? And they're gonna say, okay, where's the act? It's like, no, it's not. It's actually something else.
That's my
And
one.
do it on the easel like you did with that other foam board. That's the perfect size, and use the easel.
Okay. I suppose.
And then you can put a QR code on it as well.
Okay. So that being said, Any other committee comments on this?
Yes, I have a comment.
Go ahead. Ira.
I think the only thing that's going to get any attention whatsoever is if you flat out write on the very top of the tent, is you flat out write free special event. That's it. And then because if you put anything else, annual, no one's, I mean, that's great, but no, I don't think it's going to get anything. But if you really want someone to ask, oh, what is this free special event? And then you can put the date. Anything short of that, people are going to walk right by. Because again, I've been in Studio City 16 years. I think I was at Luminaria once, I think, and I didn't even know that it existed other times. And when I go to the farmers markets, I'm walking really fast. I'm looking at the things. If it's not something that's going to catch my 1 second glance, if that, I'm probably not going to spend the time to look at it and find out what it is. So that's my suggestion. I love that banner. It's really colorful and it makes it look like this really cool thing. But if you're talking about like catching someone to inquire further, free special event on this date. Oh, what is this free special event? Oh, it's a Luminaria, and then we could talk about what that is. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, cool. Any other committee comments?
You gotta
on this?
walk up and down the
All right.
aisles and solicit
All right.
people. They don't come
Yes.
to our booth.
Well, we will. We always do. Any other committee comments on this matter? Okay, so the idea is November 27th. Should I contact the farmers market again, or I know Ira and Terry did it before, and coordinate with, is her name Teresa? Is that her name? I think I forgot her name. I don't remember either, but I have her email.
I'll look.
Okay. But we will hopefully, we've been there twice before. I know we're supposed to only have 2 times over there, but I think we could swing a third. This is the weekend after Thanksgiving. So I'm guessing, just guessing, that maybe there won't be as many food vendors there as there usually is because it's Thanksgiving weekend. Hopefully that won't also apply to the number of people walking around, but there might be more spots available, and maybe they'll have it in their hearts to give us one more visit before the end of the year. So I'll send an email out to her tomorrow. And if you guys want to do it as well, you can. The more the merrier. And contact.
Isn't it Esther Walker? at the
Esther, that's her
Chamber of
name.
Commerce?
It is Esther.
Thank you. Thank you. That being said, I don't know how.
Are you going to email her again?
We can both do it. I can email her. You can email her. The more
I don't
people
wanna
email
inundate
her, maybe she'll say, "Stop emailing me." Okay, you get your spot.
I don't want to inundate. I think one of us should be enough.
Okay,
But I think there's-
I'll copy both you and Terry on it. I'll copy.
And the same
Scott as
table we
well.
had last time, I think, was a great placement. I think.
Yeah, well, that was where we were supposed to be all along. I don't know why they stuck us all the way down at the end last time. We were supposed to be traditionally, apparently, in that spot. So hopefully we'll get it again. And yeah, and as we're getting closer to it, I will email the entire committee and the council and let them know what's going on there.
The trick to making sure you get the right spot is to get there early enough that they're still setting up and they've got the guys with the little truck running around. Because once they're all set up, they're set in stone. But while they're still setting it up, you can barter if you don't like the spot. Or it always happens. Yes, you were supposed to get this, but then the cucumber man showed up and he was supposed to have it too, or somebody told him whatever. Anyway, so you have to be there early enough to put your 2 cents in.
That's wise words. Wise words. Outside of that, I guess there's nothing else to talk about on agenda item 8. So I'll close agenda item 8. We'll go to 9. Discussion of possible future agenda items for outreach consideration. Anybody on the committee have any ideas? We are near the end of the year, and like Scott mentioned earlier, a lot of bills are going to come due. Like I said, North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry has got an NPG that's she's mailed to us. If Barry's still there, it might already be at the office or in the mail room. She said this a couple days ago, so it might already be there. So if Barry's still
What
listening,
am I looking for?
something from the North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry. They're mailing, Barbara Javits is mailing in neighborhood purpose grant application. So
Okay.
she said it was going to be mailing to our Radford address. I gave it to her and it should already be there. But outside of that, with the elections coming up, who knows what we're going to spend on the elections. Maybe a few other community improvements or neighborhood purpose grants. Who knows? If there's any ideas, Terry, go right ahead.
Okay, so I've been waiting for this because I brought this up a few times over the months, but it hasn't been the appropriate time to ask. But I think now it is because we are coming to the end of the year. Is that again? I'm going to reiterate that my big thing, the big issue that I feel in the community is that not enough people know about stuff that actually affects their daily life, being residents of Studio City. And if they do have a concern about something, they don't know if there's anything they can do about it or how they follow the issue. So I think a postcard like the ones that a lot of the realtors send out, I would like to put aside a budget issue. I think it'll be a few $1,000s for something that large. It won't be, it won't be like printing parking passes or anything, but something that could be sent out, a mailer. So then there would be also a budget for the mailing. But I think that maybe the top 3 issues that we feel are important to the people we know, and whether we do a survey, an e-blast survey, or one that also is on the website or something. But I think that some of the issues, like you said, the elections are coming up, but we still have probably the number one thing that people are bringing up is our homeless issue in the city, which is directly going to be impacted, is it tied together with the development in our area and about higher density housing, which we know is coming. But people deserve to know the land use issues in our area. And we have several big ones. The Sportsman's Lodge is now going to be this huge development. I've talked about about the historical, I'm not going to go through that again. There's also all the number of projects that are being proposed from Cahuenga down to Sherman Oaks on Ventura. So I think that the community deserves for the neighborhood council to let them know where they can go find out about this information. And I think that a mailing card saying these things are coming up, even if it was 3 issues, and here, how do you feel? Here's where you weigh in, or a
What if
QR code or something.
What about if we can roll 2 into 1? Maybe a 5x7, maybe a larger postcard like the
They're
run for
usually
the,
5x7 or 6
it
by
can be
8.
even larger because the postcards that went out for the elections in 2021 were massive. I don't know what size they were, but they were big. They're a lot, and the graphic, I don't know if Michael Delazar actually created the graphic or not, but I don't know who did it, but it was massive. And yes, it was easy to spot, but it took up a lot of real estate. On that massive postcard, you could have had an election postcard with also the top 3 issues affecting Studio City and relevant information. So you got a postcard saying run for office with all of the concerns, like you were saying.
These are issues that that I would think would promote people to say that, oh yes, I'm going to vote because now I can weigh in on these problems that bother me or these things.
You can run for office too.
Yeah.
You can do both.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So I think that to promote the neighborhood council, to promote the elections, to promote people getting involved, because that's the whole thing with any elections or any body like neighborhood councils or city council or anything, is getting the involvement of people in the educated public. And what do we do? I mean, what are we doing to do that? We can't depend on the people who already know about the website, because I know, like the nonprofit that I run, getting people the eyes on your website is the thing. You have to continually do more outreach. You keep casting the net, hoping to bring more people in. And so that has to be an active, ongoing thing. And that's why, boys and girls, that the real estate people spend so much money on those postcards, is that they actually work. Just like, in this day and age, when everything is digital, no, a business card. You go to a conference, you go to something and you give it your business card, and that's who calls you back more than anybody else. Even if they do contact you because your web address is also on it. So tried and true stuff that, look what's in your mail. They're not doing it because it's not working. Okay. That's my point.
Great. No, great.
So I think a budget needs to be talked about and then get it on the in front of the board. Certainly. Before all the money's gone.
Scott?
So to Terry's point, she mentioned land use issues in Studio City. And I don't know if any of you know this, but before the last land use committee meeting, I flyered the neighborhood surrounding a land use issue that we took up. It was a restaurant called John and Vinny's near Moore Park and Tahunga. And I personally walked up and down the streets adjacent to this proposed restaurant and put a flyer on everybody's doorstep or on their door. I did not put it in their mailbox. We're not allowed to do that. And that's the kind of stuff we should be doing to promote the neighborhood council itself. We have a ad hoc committee meeting coming up on the 9th, I think, where we're going to be addressing the Sportsman's Project. And we're going to be asking for help to flyer the local neighborhood businesses and residents. And that's a good place to start to get more people coming to our meetings. And maybe outreach can help out with that
Sure.
as well. Thanks.
Absolutely.
So can we, I mean, how does this work, Brandon? Can we put it on the agenda for our very next meeting that we come up with a budget? And I will be happy to look into that unless you want to, and what we'd be looking for is a mailing, the size of postcard, what it costs, and where we want to mail. I think we've got 22,000 households in Studio City. Am I correct with that?
Yeah. Oh, there was a little guide through the United States Postal Service. You can actually choose the routes that you want them to direct mail, and it tells you the price depending on the routes. I think it's more expensive up in the hills than, well, actually not exactly. It depends on where you choose.
Those houses up there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not based on location. It's based on the number of flyers that you purchase. Because oftentimes from a real estate point of view, oftentimes when you purchase the flyer, you're purchasing the design, the printing, and the postage.
Well, you know what? Pink's does that. They have direct mail services.
Just be ready though. It's much more expensive than we think.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is.
Well, if you use a service, it's much more expensive. You know, like, I mean, if you print them yourselves and you get the meter, the nonprofit meter, government meter, or whatever they'll allow us to have, there's different prices, you know, because like I use a nonprofit one and it's quite a bit less, but you have to, if you're using the nonprofit one, you have to make sure your item is going out well in advance of when you want people to get it, because it does get kind of they say it doesn't get a lower echelon of delivery, but I do believe it does.
Well, in terms of this flyer, we're going to have to discuss.
Call it a postcard because.
I'm sorry. My
No,
apologies.
I said flyer too. So.
The ginormous postcard. The top 3 issues, and we're going to have to work out exactly what's going to be on this postcard. I'm guessing that because of the cost, we'd probably do a 2-for-1, like I said, with the upcoming election and this info card as well. I think we mentioned that before. I didn't throw out the last election postcard because I said, oh, this is interesting. I kind of stuck it on my cork board. Then after a while, I kept looking at it saying, yeah, you know what? Maybe I will. I never win anything. So what's the point? Well, I wound up getting 3rd out of 3, but I won a seat. I mean, that doesn't happen to me very often. I don't win anything. I've always been honorable mention my entire life. I couldn't believe I won. Scott contacted me and said, dude, you won. I'm like, yeah, no. And I just kind of, then I looked and I said, oh, really? I did. That's amazing. So, yeah, keeping this on. The reason I ran was because I kept it on my corkboard and just stayed there. And then after about the 3rd or 4th time, it's like advertising. You see an ad about 3 or 4 times, it starts getting sticky in your head and you start looking. It just stayed there. So having this information on a card that is also run for office would be great, because it would give them a reason to keep it on their refrigerator if the refrigerator accepts magnets anymore. Some don't. Or on their corkboard, or in their office, or just on their desk. Some information that'll keep that thing from not going into the garbage. And the longer it stays with them, the more inclined they are to actually really take a good long hard look at it and think about it. So yeah, we can fold both of those in there and really make this kind of a catch-all postcard that does talk about the top issues in Studio City and talks about, run for office. Here comes the elections. It's your neighborhood. So
As I say, I think that would inspire people to get involved because they see the things that they're interested in,
that's good. Okay. So any other suggestions about future agenda items? No? Then we will just.
Oh, wait. I got
Oh,
one- I
okay.
got-
Okay. Go ahead.
I know a lot of people think next door is a cesspool, and perhaps it is. But
Everyone just gave you everyone just gave you a look like, no.
however, a lot of the issues we address are discussed on Nextdoor with dozens and sometimes hundreds of comments on a particular issue. And I
Yeah.
think it's something we should consider where we get involved and at least direct people to SCNC committees and meetings where these items are being discussed. There are so many issues that are discussed on Nextdoor. Plus, I subscribe to the Nextdoor Empower LA feed, and it's hundreds of posts per month. And I would say almost all of the other neighborhood councils are regularly posting on Nextdoor. And I think we can bring in a few people to come to our meetings.
Is there anybody on this committee who's regularly on Nextdoor?
I am, unfortunately. When I'm not
Terry,
when
are
I'm not
you?
next door jail.
No,
Sometimes
no, I'm not regularly on it. I think the only two things I've ever posted was helping people with animal issues. But I do read it, but I don't post on it. I don't read it every day. I'm an infrequent person, but to what Scott said, it's very true that there's whole sections on the very things that we address at neighborhood council. And I think even if we posted, certainly not an opinion, but this will be discussed upcoming. This is on, will be discussed at the land use chair. This is going to be discussed here. I think that'd be great. I think it'd really draw people in.
As long as whoever is handling, whoever is the account administrator for Nextdoor representing the neighborhood council doesn't reply to the comments.
Yeah, but
Just go to our website.
Yeah.
We got an agenda. Go to the meeting and make your comments there. That would be the way to do it, I think. But yeah, it will find. Maybe there's someone on the board who's regular besides Scott, because Scott's got his full plate right now, especially coming into 2024. It's amazing. There's not blood coming out of his ears. That his brain he's got way too much on his plate. But if there's someone else on the board who is Nextdoor savvy, maybe we can have them do it. Barry, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you. I just don't know where you all have the time to read all this stuff on social media. I mean, I don't have an extra second in the day. And I would love to channel the energy that people spend reading and writing this stuff to actually help do some work to make a difference. None of their comments actually, change something that we want to change at, say, Sportsman's or anything else. It's just banter back and forth. It's gossip back and forth. Let's try and get some of this energy that people have actually doing some work to help Studio City. Thank you.
The only thing I'd say about that is we can't choose where the stakeholders are. We have to go where they are. And if quite a few stakeholders are on Nextdoor, then so be it. I'm not a big fan of Nextdoor. I think it's toxic, but if the stakeholders are there, we have to go to them. We can't expect them to come to us. So again, I've never been on Nextdoor. I have no idea how to operate or what to expect. But according to what I'm hearing, it seems like there is a lot of activity on Nextdoor that we're missing. So if the stakeholders are there, we have to go there. We don't have a choice in the matter. And I know what you're saying, Barry. I agree with you. But if they're there, we have to go there. Anybody else? Any other possible future agenda items? No? Okay. So we'll dispose of 9. And 10 will be adjournment. I motion we adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second?
Ira seconds.
All right, I'll give it to Ira. I saw Sherry raise her hand, but I'll give it to Ira. Sorry, Sherry. Okay, we will adjourn the meeting at 8:23 p.m. This is a very informative meeting. I will let you guys know if we're going to have a December meeting, and if we do have a December meeting, it'll be a really short meeting, just house cleaning, just making sure we have everything set. But it won't be anything ground shaking, because I don't even know if we're even going to have a board meeting. I don't know if that's been determined yet. So I'll let you guys know very shortly if we're going to have a December meeting. Hopefully we will. If not, happy holidays, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Take care.
Night.